Hello everybody and welcome back by Hops Coding. Today we're gonna do something about loops because sometimes you got some code and you don't want to copy paste it like 50 times, you just want to loop through it a few times. Well, there are some basic functions for that. So we're gonna check the while loop today. So yeah, let's get started. Make a public static main void main string args right there. So what a while loop basically do is it keeps repeating a loop like that. That's how you do it. It's like an if statement, but now you do a while, and the statement goes into the parentheses like while just number. Let's make some stuff before we do the while loop, like integer number 1 is equal to 5. Or take it 0. Yeah, no. Let's put it off, like 0 is equal to 0. Wow. Like that. So, in number 0, and final number is 10. Let's say like 10. So you want to make a statement like this. Like say you want to execute something 10 times. You can say for it while number is less than 10. Then you can say in the while loop number plus plus. Like I teach you before, the plus plus will count up the number by 1. So if you know system.out.println and you're gonna print out the number, you're going to do that. So it's going 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 9. Why is that? Because the first time it will be 0. Check it while 0 is less than 10. Execute this code. It's going to execute, it's going to print a 0. Then it's going to add the number, so it's going to be 1. Then it's 1 is less than 10. Executing again. It's all the way around till it's 9. Then come here, 9 is less than 10. Then we're going to go again and say 9 plus 1 is 10. Then it's 10 is less than 10. No, it's false. So it's going to execute. It's going to go to here instead of to the beginning and just going to continue. That's what a loop is. So you can write a small code instead of copy pasting 10 times the same code. So let's say you want something to make a fine, like 2 variables, something like that. I want to say system.out.println and we're gonna print out number plus plus. So yeah, it's actually the same like that. If you place a less or equal, it's going to go to 10. That's actually how it works in a while loop. We got some other examples like you want to read some numbers. So let's make a scanner object. Scanner scan is equal to new scanner system.in. Just like that, it's gonna import the java.util.scanner. So that's how it works. So now let's just place that between comments. We don't need it anymore. We also gonna create no, we're not gonna create number. We're gonna create average. We all just want to calculate the average about some number. So we're gonna call it a float because average is most of the time a float. So yeah, we made a float which is 0. Just gonna call it 0. and we're gonna take an int counter. So what you want to do now, you want to insert some numbers, but there's not, you can't say like input 5 numbers. You want to input the first time 2 numbers, second time 10 numbers, tomorrow maybe 15 numbers, I don't know. So you have to make something in a loop, so it keeps executing the loop until you don't want to execute it anymore. So then you want to average. So how is it going to do that? We're going to do that in a while loop. So first you're gonna scan some number. You're gonna say, oh, we have to make one number. It's gonna make a float number like that. I'm gonna say number is equal to scan dot next float. Write that. So now it treats in a floating point, float number. So now we're gonna checking while number is not equal to 0. So no, we're not going to do that like that. So we're going to keep scanning in numbers as long as the number isn't 0. So what you want to do now is like we want to add to the average. Average is plus equal, because we want to add to the average all the single time. Now we don't want the average, actually we want a sum. Float sum. So actually we want to calculate everything into a sum. So the sum is always going to add itself by the number. Just like that. But the number, yeah, that's what I thought. So you have to call it a 0 for the start, else it will calculate nothing up to something, to something, so that's not possible. So you have to initialize it before you use it actually. So now we're gonna say the sum is, I will just write it out for a second, just like that, plus equal number. So you can understand what I'm doing. So sum is equal to sum plus the number, so we're actually gonna add the sum with the number every single time in the loop. And what we want to do then is we want to get the counter higher. So the counter is 0 at start, and we want the counter to get plus plus. So it's going to do counter plus 1 every single time in the loop. After the counter is plus plus, you're going to ask another number, because so like that, and we're gonna add a new number, and when you read a new number, it's going to the while loop and it's going to check, oh, if the number is not null, we're going to execute the code again. So we're going to add to the sum and going to put the counter higher and read the number again. As long as the number is 0, it will keep adding numbers and it will keep hiring the counter. So when you get out of the loop, you're just gonna do system.out.println. We're gonna print out the average, but we have to calculate it first. So we're gonna do average is equal to, don't need that. So you made a counter which actually counts the numbers. So the average is then divided by the counter, and it's going to be the sum. But because the counter is an integer, you need to typecast it in the previous tutorial to a float, just like that. That's how we do it. So now we're printing the average. There's only one problem probably. If you press a 0 the first time, it's going to be 0 and the counter will be 0. This will mean you can't divide by 0. It will give an error. So you have actually to add an if statement. So if counter is less or equal than 0, which is impossible, then we're just gonna make it bigger than 0, so we don't even need the block. So if the counter is bigger than 0, then execute it, else you don't. We're just gonna do that like this. Oh, sorry. So that's how it works. Let's make some good stuff right there. And we're gonna print out if it doesn't, if it is smaller than 0. So I'm gonna print that out. No numbers entered, and like that. So let's try and run this program. What happens? Oh, let's make some input first before we're gonna say system.out.print line, and we're gonna put in here enter a number, just like that. So we know we have to put in a number. So we're gonna do it above this too, so we know when we have to input a number, else we're waiting for nothing. Enter a number. I'm gonna enter 5, enter number 3, enter number 8, enter number 4, enter number 6. And if we enter a 0, it will go out the loop. It will check, oh, it's a 0. Oh, just like that. Oh, it's a 0. This means just different. Number is different of 0. It's the opposite of two equal signs, so like that. So yeah, if it's different, then quit the while loop. That's what while loops do. Just keep executing till it isn't correct anymore. So if we try to add a null at start, oh, that doesn't matter. It's gonna say no numbers enter because the counter is 0. The counter is 0, and only if it's bigger than 0 we can execute this. But we can't do sum divided by 0. That's impossible. Yeah, that's the way how we do it. Yeah, I screwed up the 0 like that. There's also another way to just do this, because now you have to read in a number before you go into while loop. There's something else. You have a do while. So you have a do and a while. Oh, it's like that. So you just do the same, and it's actually what actually is better at this, because you have to put something in front of the while loop to make it run. So the code is running and it's going to check, input this, but this is out of the while loop. So yeah, it always executes this one time, but if you don't place this, it won't execute the while loop. So what is actually happening with this? So do, I'm just gonna copy it in here like that. So the do while is always gonna execute this first before checking the while loop. So we always have to scan in a number first, like that. So do, this code is just gonna run. It's not gonna watch to the while code. So it's going to do, and it's checking this. Oh, enter a number is scan float, and then it's going to do all this code, and then it's going to check if the counter is 0, then just quit. If it's 1, do it again. If it's 2 or higher or something like that, -20, just do it again. Just keep running it, but it's going to execute this code always one time before entering the while loop. that's basically how a do while loops works. Yeah, that's basically how while loops runs in general. So we have just the while loop and the do while loop. They just do the same, just the difference is the do while loop always have to run a code before the while loop, and a while loop always runs everything in the while loop just until the condition isn't met anymore, but there needs some code before it to make it run or something like that. So yeah, to enter some numbers in a row and get the average, the best way to do is use a do while loop because it's more readable and easier to get. Yeah. So that's it about while loops. If you got any questions, post them, mail me, do whatever you want, I'll answer anyway. Like and subscribe, and yeah, see you next time. Bye.